Griggs, athlete I guess you could say. Yeah, that's about it. Not much else to me.
And finally, the one we have brilliant
So, introduce yourself.
I'm Mark Kirk, probably best known as Nick Griggs' coach. Currently working as well for Athletics Northern Ireland as the endurance coordinator, and recently retired as a dentist as well, so a bit of a change in career for me.
Hi, I'm Ryan Griggs. I'm Nick's mum.
I am Nick Griggs, athlete I guess you could say. Yeah, that's about it. Not much else to me.
When did you realise, you're gonna make it as a runner?
I still haven't made it, you know what I mean? I don't think you could say you've made it until you've retired and you've achieved everything you want to achieve. But I guess I didn't realise until I knew I was decent. I got into the mini marathon, and then in second year, and I remember Rory Freelinks and Francis Shaw said to my mum, if he starts training, because obviously they knew everyone else was training but I wasn't. So if he goes to a club and starts training, he could be really good. And then yeah, that was kind of the natural progression. And I think I only realised whenever I was in like fifth year, and I started training consistently over lockdown, and I ran an 8:20 3K time trial. There was like a giveaway for a pair of shoes, and I kind of wanted to win, and I wanted to know what time I could run, because I'd done like a good few months of training, but there was no races on or nothing like that, so I didn't really know what I could do. So I ran 8:20, videoed it, and at that point I was under 18. I remember looking up the Irish records, and it came up like John Tracy 8:20 point something, and I was like, whoa, like that's my age group, and I've just ran that. And at that point it was like, either I'm delusional and this track isn't big enough, or I didn't do enough laps, or I'm actually really good. And I had to watch the video back about 10 times to be like, to make sure I did the correct distance, and it was 3K. I sent it to like a few people. Peter Corey, I'll name drop him. All the lads that train with now, Callum Morgan, Mark himself, Ryan Miskelly, a few culprits. I could go on and on and on about the lads who were giving me grief, but obviously I didn't know them at the time. But I just heard one of my friends, Dara, telling me like, they're all saying that this is fake. The track shorts, you've like either recorded one lap and just like times it by 7 or something. I was like, how would I even do that? But they were discrediting me no matter what it was. But it was at that point I started to realise, and then I ran like a 14:24 time trial by myself on the roads for a 5K, and it was then around that time in 2021 at the start, I was like, right, as long as I'm not delusional and my watch isn't bugging and like this track isn't short, I'm actually quite talented. And then yeah, obviously I took that into the races that summer, and I ended up doing not too bad, yeah.
Like most people, that 5K when he ran, I think it was 14:15, and no one had ever heard of him, and he hadn't really done any sort of real structured training. Now he'd been with Mid Ulster and he turned up at track sessions, but a lot of the stuff he just did himself in between times. So I think that was a real defining moment for a lot of people when Nick Griggs sort of came to the fore.
What's been your biggest high point in your athletics career?
I'd say the obvious one's Estonia 2 years ago, winning European Juniors at 16. That was it was unexpected, but I expected it myself, because I knew I was confident, and I knew that even though I wasn't the quickest going in, and it was my first major champs, I knew that I could go in and win. I knew I had the speed, and I remember telling myself going into the final, like I think Abdel and Sean Donoghue had told me, like, you're doing too much looking around, just like be more focused and just don't look around too much and stuff like that. So I took it on board, went into the final, and I think I've watched it back, and you can notice like my head doesn't sway at all. I'm very, very focused, staring at the guy in front of me, and I remember telling myself, just like, as long as you're there with 400 to go, no one's gonna beat you, you're gonna win. And I just told myself that and said, just put yourself there with 400 to go and you've won. And yeah, that's basically what ended up happening. I was there 400 to go, made maybe about 300, and I ended up winning. So I remember coming down the home straight with 50 to go, and it was the most surreal thing ever because I'd never even won an Irish title at my own age group, and then now I was winning a European title 2-3 age groups above me. So it was absolutely wild, and I'd say that's still a feeling I'm yet to replicate. But either that or the 356 mile, which I owe a lot to Andrew Coscoran for that. And I just remember coming out of like the NIA arena with my friend Derek, and we did a cool down together, and we were jogging, and we were just like, what the has just happened? You know what I mean? I was like, what have I just done? Like, that is ridiculous. Like, NI record at 17, European record, and I was just like, I genuinely couldn't believe it. I had to like pinch myself and be like, am I in a dream? I was doing the cool down, I was like, there's no way that's real. The race on Thursday, I was thinking like, this must be my Wednesday night dream or something, because there's not a single chance that just happened. But yeah, it was one of them too. I'd say would be my biggest high in athletics so far. Yeah.
There's been a few actually, but I think one of the most important ones was him winning the gold in Tallinn. He was very much sort of hoping that he would win a medal, but we thought there's no way he's going to win a medal. He's only 16. It's his first championships. Then when he won the medal, it was just unbelievable. We just couldn't believe it. So that was a really big high point in his career. Then of course the mile at Abbottstown with Andrew Coscoran, like that just was amazing.
To me, that mile he ran indoors against Coscoran would really give Coscoran a real good rattle. For him at that stage, it was a perfect race. It wasn't a race we'd planned either. It was just one. Phelan Kelly messaged me and said, here, any of your guys fancy doing a mile? Some of his boys were doing it, and it should be a good race. So I sort of said to Nick, as far as he was concerned, his indoor season was done, and we just decided last minute to run it. I didn't even tell him Coscoran was in it. I just told him it's just going to be a mile race opportunity. You never know, you might break 4, if things go well. So we thought, yeah, it'd be nice to break 4 indoors. So then Coscoran did show up, and Nick just hung on to him for as long as he could, and ended up running 3:56, which was, I think at that stage, was pretty massive.
What's been Nick's biggest low point in his athletics career?
Well, I don't know if Nick will agree with me or not, but it was definitely the getting silver at Eurocross last year, because he just was so close to winning. And I remember online somebody putting up the most heartbreaking video you'll watch today. It was just the fact that he was so close to winning, and then he just lost it at the very end. So I know how disappointed he was. I could see it in his face. So that was difficult for him, but he's come back from it.
See, I heard Mum say second at Europeans. I thought that was a bit harsh personally. Biggest low bit. I know it was. I did fumble it, and I was winning, and then fell obviously, which was disappointing. But I wouldn't say it like that. Obviously at the time that was a bit of a low, but I mean, I reflected on it an hour later and realised, right, well, it really was a good achievement. But I'd say Eurocross the previous year was probably the biggest low for me so far. I just had an awful race. I came from winning Europeans in the summer. I had such a big breakout year, kind of won everything, and then won national champs against Dean, and there was a lot of hype, and I was still only 16, and it was home champs, so the hype was really building. And I remember reading articles like I was our main medal hope, which looking back, just absolute and utter balls, nonsense. I came 16th, probably didn't even come in the top 10 Irish finishers that day, you know what I mean? I was just so disappointed because my whole family came down, everyone was down supporting, Gaelic club, basically anyone you could name who was important to me was down watching, and just on the biggest stage I just didn't deliver, I just didn't dig in, I just crumbled basically. So again, it wasn't great, but we won a team silver. I battled out for the team and still placed for the team, because I genuinely was inches away from dropping out. I remember on the last lap saying coming into it, and this is just the real perspective of a runner, you know what I mean? people can act like it's all perfect and that they're mentally strong and like they always feel great, but this is just a real assessment and what really goes on in like an elite athlete's head. Because I remember coming into the last lap, it was 4 laps, and genuinely I was telling myself coming down that hill, like, right, when am I going to drop out? Like, where's a good opportunity I can just slowly, like, and I was looking for places to just like quietly slide off and drop out. And I was like, well, that would be all right. Well, you could do it around this corner, no one will really see you. And then like I took a sec and was like, stop being an idiot. Like, I had a team talk with the lads before and just said I want everyone to give 100%, and I don't want like all of us to just give everything and leave it all out there and we can come home with a medal. So I thought if I drop out and we don't win a medal, imagine how hypocritical that is. It's not just for me, it's for them. And it's the fact it's you represent your country in the European Championships. I have more pride and passion than to just drop out for no reason. There was no reason. It's not like I was injured. It was just like my head was just playing with me, and I was already having a bad race and I had a stitch, and I was just like, well, there's no point now. But fortunately, I did manage to dig in. But it was still a disappointment how it ended up going. But there was a silver lining, and then I came back, and it motivated me to work even harder. So like even in the disappointments, there's always something to take from that.
Probably Eurocross in Dublin. High expectations coming off winning the 3K outdoors. A lot of expectations. Obviously, it was a home championship. Everybody would sort of had sort of made him out that he was going to win it, and you know, he did have a good chance, but in the end, I think the whole occasion got the better of him, and he was very disappointed because he felt he let himself down, he let his family down, and he let his teammates down because they missed winning the team goal by a point. And Nick sort of thought, well, he should have been maybe top 3, top 4 at the very least. So he did feel that, you know, he let those guys down, but to be fair to him, like, he bounced back very, very quickly, put it behind him. I think that's a sign of a good athlete, that you can put those disappointments behind you and get on with your training and get on with racing, and then sure, you think, you know, maybe less than 2 months later he ran that 3:56 mile indoors. So that was a good sign of his mental toughness in a way.
No, but yours, mine is similar to you.
Why would it just be me doing strides?
You're getting bullied.
The Europeans on Monday.
What was your reaction when you got the Puma sponsorship?
Yeah, it was wild, to be honest. I couldn't quite believe it. It was after the 3:56 mile, and I was in school the next morning actually, and I had double study, which was quite nice to be able to just relax for a bit after that performance. Mark texted me and said something about, I'm gonna contact Ricky from Pace, like I have Nike. Everyone contacted me. I don't know what to do because he's obviously Mark's a coach, he's not an agent. I was thinking, am I gonna be sponsored here? But he said Nike or whatever, and I was like, whoa, now we're talking. Now we're really talking. So that was okay. And then he obviously got in contact with Ricky and my agency now, and yeah, that was just unbelievable to get that offer from Puma. You know, they're such a good brand and such a well-known brand, and obviously Usain Bolt, I've always said, being such an inspiration for me, and he was sponsored by Puma as well. That definitely played into my thinking as well. I was so taken aback by it, so shocked that, you know, this is, because I'd always said since I was 5, 6, like, I'm gonna be an Olympian, and then it kind of developed as I knew more about the sport. Like, I'm gonna be a professional athlete, I'm gonna be a professional runner, and there was no real evidence, there was no backing. I wasn't a good runner. I had the way I was going, there was no shout that I would ever even be an Ulster medalist, never mind a professional athlete. Yeah, to be able to like say that I was a professional athlete and sign that contract was something huge and something that I always wanted to be able to say, and I always dreamed of achieving. So I can't thank Puma enough for that, you know what I mean? And they're so good, and their kit's so good. Their shoes and their spikes are unbelievable. I couldn't ask anything more of them, you know. They provide to your needs. My initial reaction was just shock, really, that I was actually going to be a professional.
That all came off after the indoor mile. I was getting a lot of phone calls the next day from not just Puma but a lot of other agents and shoe companies. The Puma deal wasn't a big surprise really, because they were one of the first ones to get in contact, but I thought it was a bit out of my league trying to negotiate with these guys, so I got in contact with Ricky Sims from Pace Management, and he did all the rest and sort of kept Nick and his mum and dad and me informed of what was happening and what sort of deal was out there, and it turned out that Puma made the best offer.
It was sort of like, wow, this is just unbelievable. We couldn't believe that, you know, they were going to give Nick that opportunity at such a young age. The Puma sponsorship has just changed everything, because we're able to afford for him to go to races, and you know, he's got all the equipment he needs. It's just life changing, and we're just so grateful that he's had the opportunity in this day and age now to be able to have a Puma deal and be able to progress his running with the financial support and the support that they've given us.
It would literally just be 6 miles around here, flat out. But I'd say, yeah, it's a tempo run. Sessions were like, if I wasn't on the floor, like I wasn't satisfied.
What's Nick like outside running?
No, he's great. He's very, can't say sensible, but he's very focused on what he wants to do. He's, you know, once he puts his mind to something, you know, he basically do it. Like, we set our targets. He set his targets for the year, for this summer, and I sort of mine as well, but his were slightly faster than mine. And to be fair to Nick, he's basically, what he said, he has done. So he's this real determination and real focus. So, you know, and from a coaching point of view, he's very, very easy to coach. He's very easy to work with. He understands what we're doing and why we're doing it, and you know, he just gets on with it.
Nick is really good crack, actually. He's really funny. He does talk about running a lot, but then luckily I'm interested in that. But Nick's just a normal guy. He loves going out with his friends. He loves doing lots of different things. He's very active, likes to go out socially. He loves to go to running. Nick has a great life. He's living the dream. He's now on his year out, and he's going to be, I thought, oh, Nick will be at home all year, but he's not. He's going all over the place. He just seems to love life, and I've watched how determined he is and how committed he is to running and to his schoolwork and to anything that he does. And Nick's a grehave guy. You know I'm a bit biased, but he really is. He's just amazing.
Unbelievable crack, I'll have you know. Nah, I know, look, ask anyone. Nah, I'm only joking. I'd say I'm quite chilled out, like quite relaxed. I don't take life too seriously. I like to lie in bed and just, well, whenever I'm not doing schoolwork, you know, well, right now, it'd be like 3 in the day, I come home from training, I'm like, right, what am I doing here? It's like, oh, well, I've nothing to do, I can go up to bed and just like take a nap for an hour, which is unreal. But yeah, I'd say I'm quite hard work. Well, I'd like to say I'm hard working and determined. Yeah, I'd say outside of running, it leads into other aspects of life and schoolwork and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, no, I like to go out with my mates. I do enjoy watching running, but I also don't mind myself a bit of Love Island either. Obviously, to be good at a sport, it has to be a huge part of your life, but you also have to be able to detach yourself from it and enjoy other things as well.
What do you believe you're capable of in running?
I don't know, because you never know when your progression is going to stop or slow down, or how good you're going to be. You know, I always say, like, I could just go out next year and start running 85, 90 mile weeks at altitude and not improve, or I could just go and get injured, or I could go out and maybe run 3:30, or who knows, you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm capable of, but my ultimate goal is to become an Olympic medalist. You know, it's something I've always had, like that infatuation with. I've always wanted it, and I don't think my career I won't be satisfied with my career until I do have an Olympic medal in my collection. So yeah, that's where I hope the ceiling is. but again, it could be anything. You know, it depends on how you measure the ceiling and how you measure success. You know, times or medals or whatever. But yeah, right now I'm just trying to do as much as I can to improve and keep getting better while keeping enjoying the sport and trying to professionalize myself even more. Now that I'm out of school, it's going to be not so amateur and everything just takes that next step to the next level. So yeah, with all that in place, and hopefully as I do have a really good support system, yeah, you don't really want to put a ceiling on anything, because why limit yourself, you know?
Now, it has taken me a wee bit of a time to sort of believe in Nick. I'll freely admit that. But I do actually think now that Nick is going to go to the Olympics. And, you know, every runner's ultimate goal is to get to the Olympics and to win Olympic gold. And I honestly now think that he could do that in the future.
I have high hopes, and I know he's high expectations of making it onto the big stage.
Now that you're finished school, what's your plans? What's next for Nick Griggs?
Alright, go!